What's up, guys? I'm at my house. I had a request from one of my homies on YouTube to do a setup video on my setup. Now I know you guys have seen the trailer. You've seen the truck. The truck is a 2002 Ford F-150. I had that truck. I didn't even go buy that to get started. I spent $6,000 or $7,000 a few years ago for it, and it had 111,000 miles on it. It's a crew cab. It's a 2002. If you know anything about these 2002s, just don't drive through a big puddle, or you're going to have to change one of the coil packs, number 7 or 8. Anyway, this is the Ford that I drive. It's a V8. So let's take a closer look. I got the toolbox open. We'll open up the trailer and get started. All right. So let's start at the front of the truck. I know you guys aren't really interested in the truck, but I keep my receipt book up here. I've used that once. Usually I just use an invoice. Let me turn this up a little. Usually I just use an invoice. I keep my mileage book. I write down my mileage in here every day that I go to work. Now I use it outside of work, but I actually just keep up with the miles for actual work days. And there's some miscellaneous stuff. I use this book to write down measurements and things like that in. I keep it up here. For some reason I have my shade 10 for trying to get my arc shots. I don't know why that's up here. Man, I just put stuff different places sometimes. I got my hat, my wife's beach hat. You know, it's just a junky old work truck, not much to it. We also take it to the beach. You'll see why in a minute. And then I have my battery up here. That's for what I use to open up the trailer, the side of the trailer. Got bug spray for the wife. I don't really use it. Bugs don't care for me too much. I don't know what that's about. Yurt. This is the back seat. Let me see if I can get a little light on it here. So this is the back seat, guys. There's not a lot of light out here today. I guess I waited too long to do the video. There's my cheap mag drill. I got my skateboard pads for when I go skateboarding. There's a skateboard in there somewhere. Yeah, I still skateboard. You know, 43 years old. I have my Pittsburgh floor jack. There's also another jack, like a hand crank jack. A scissor jack. Got my annular bits. Down here I keep grease. I keep another bottle jack. And what I do with the scissor jack and the bottle jack is when I set up my trailer, I put one under one side and one under the back. I put one under this side where all the tools are. So that way, you know, the weight isn't, the trailer's not bouncing back and forth when I'm walking in there, and the tools aren't putting a lot of, you know, when I pull out the table and all the stuff, it's not putting a lot of weight on this side. I'll show you all that. And then I have my trailer lock, which I hardly ever use. And then my skim board. You guys, you ever seen a skim board before? But I redid the bottom of that one. That's a Zap. But that's one of my Gills Fish Beater logo deals, just a dead fish. And then, of course, the other side is my pads and my wax. I'll show you. Hopefully I'll just beat it up here. So I'll put up a picture. Maybe I got a picture on my phone or somewhere of me skimboarding. I'll put that up right now. Whoo, badass. Look at that motherfucker. Yeah. What's he doing? Oh my God. Look at those muscles. Anyway. So yeah, back seat's full of just work stuff, man. Come on now. It's just so I can grab it quickly. I got a little inverter in there so I can charge my phone. I got that because my phone went dead the other day. Whoa, let me turn this down. It's a little too light now. Toolbox. All right. I keep my gas from my generator right back here. I keep three different cans. 1, 2, 3. One of them's empty right now. Used it the other day. The smaller one's is what I fill it up with, because that big one's just too hard and it'll spill out before it even gets in there. Toolbox aluminum. I bought it for 30 bucks off of Craigslist. It's got, oh man, all kinds of junk. Let me turn this up. Look, back of the truck. Before I go into the toolbox, obviously coffee cups, empty coffee cups, the tire, spare tire. I had to use it one day when I was out at the horse ranch. I had a flat at the end of the day. I didn't film that. I was in a bad mood that day. You know, it's one of those days where everything went wrong. And yeah, and I haven't put it back under there, man. I've just been too lazy. And there's a bunch of metal in here and my safety cones just in case I have to, you know, stop in the middle of the road. In here, I got a lot of the tools that I have was left to me by my father-in-law. So I got a ton of, you know, wrenches, sockets, electrical tape, you know, just all kinds of just different things. A ton of Allen wrenches if I need them. I got another tube of grease back here, just chilling. I have extra 3/32 7018. I got a box of Vulcan. Let me turn you around, guys. That'd be easy. You know, I got my wire brush, big wrenches, just all kinds of. That's all my, you know, extra air tools and tire gauges and shit. I got my little 80 amp arc welder in here. Got a bunch of extra disc for cutting with disc and stuff. A little miscellaneous, you know. I don't know why, man. I keep everything. This is just nuts and bolts in case I need them. Hydraulic fluid for my jack and different things, and my crane over there. Got an extra spring. I was going to try to use that on the back door, but the way I had it set up didn't work out. Got this box. My rods are in there, but I got this extra box. It's got something in there I guess I'm keeping. But I actually won this box of Blue Demon 6010 rods from MCF Welding on YouTube. He's also on Instagram. He's a cool dude. There's just a bunch of stuff in here, man. Sanding belts. I got those connections, those DEN 25 connections I was telling you about. I got a ton of those. Hell, I got a nail gun or a jigsaw in there. Just extra gloves, all kinds of shit. Look, I got freaking hose clamps. Whole box of hose clamps. I got rags. You know, these extra rags come in handy. There's tie straps, zip ties, just all kinds of stuff, guys. All right, let's go around to the other side. I got this little crane on here. I have yet to use it, but it's there just in case I need it. And this is a 3-inch vise that I got, and I turned it into a 5-inch, and I practiced welding on it. I got another vise over here on the back of the tailgate. When I let the tailgate down, I can use it. I use it for an umbrella stand too. This side, I got all my handles for my grinders over here. I got some a couple jack stands, little small jack stands. I got my spool gun, toe straps. I got a bunch of toe straps. I use these gloves from Harbor Freight. They come in a pack of 3 pairs. Welding gloves. I think they're $10 for a pack of 3, or for 3 pair. They don't last too awful long, but you know, they're super cheap, so I use those. I got a whole thing of bungee cords down in there. I got 3 of these drills. I got a DeWalt, 2 DeWalts and a Makita, a raincoat. I got a big giant grinder somewhere in here underneath all this shit, man. It's over here. Yeah, it's a big giant grinder, like a 7 or 8 inch. It's a Makita too, but it is under there, dog. I got a Black & Decker in there somewhere too. I just don't use those big ones too much. I'll show you this in a minute. This lifting block. Keep this lifting block in mind, okay? Because you're going to see this part soon. Basically, without this. See, I got the rest of it right there. But this lifting block, I used the bottom half on the top of my trailer, and I'll show you where. So remember the lifting block, so I don't have to come back and get. Here's the trailer. I built it. I'll throw up some pictures. I know I got some pictures. It's what it started off. It started off looking like this. Okay. Some dude told me that first said somebody carried a welder on it. Then he said Harley. He was full of shit the whole time when I went to shake hands with him. Oh. Yeah, he first told me somebody was carrying a welder on it because I told him I was a welder. Then I got there and he told me it was carrying somebody's motorcycle. And when I shook hands with him, this is the way I tell a motherfucker, man. If I shake hands with you and you don't look me in the eyes, as far as I'm concerned, you're a liar. That's what's up. These are old bed frames that I got. I worked at a moving company, and this moving company was contracted with a few mattress stores to deliver mattresses. And we deliver these mattresses. They would upgrade to a king size and get rid of their twin size. Just, you know, tons of bed frames. They'd be throwing them away. I'd keep them now. I also blacksmith as a hobby, and I was out there cutting some up. I was gonna, you know, practice blacksmithing with them. Well, the spark pattern was kind of like, huh? What is this? It looked like fireworks. So I went, got one of them red hot, put it in water to quench it real quick, and just snapped that sumbitch like a plate. So I knew right then that they have high carbon content, so they're really, really hard to weld using 6011 and 7018 because you have to do it. You can't do it in cold weather. You got to do it in the middle of the day. Man, it's tough. Like one morning I was under an awning in the back. I've got a retractable awning type thing under in here. Here, I'll show you. But I was in the back, and it was right at the end of winter. I know it's Florida. We get like 1 week of winter, of cold, actual cold weather throughout the entire winter. There'll be a day here, a day there. Start off cold. By the middle of the day, you're taking your sweatshirt off. You're in shorts. You know, it's like sweatshirted shorts. Yurt. But this was like a cool morning. I was welding, and I just got done welding the door on the other side that opens up. All of a sudden, I heard pop, 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 pop. Wind blew through. And it was kind of a cool wind, like, ooh, chilly. It blew through, and I heard pop, 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 pop. All my welds were breaking. So I had to wait till the middle of the day. And this was a pain in the ass. It took me a while to build this because I had to wait till the middle of the day and weld in the hot, hot sun. I had to wait till it got a little hotter outside, middle of the day, so that way it could cool down slowly and it wouldn't cool down fast and bust my welds. Let me take you to the top. Let's start there. Actually, let me take you around first. These are made out of old bed frames too. These are the stands that I use, my umbrella stands. And I can't afford the Pipeliner's Cloud. Remember, I'm on that Harbor Freight budget. So I use these beach umbrellas. They're like 20 bucks at Walmart. And I've actually got, when I moved in, there was a shed in the back where I got my studio, music studio. There were a bunch of barbells in there. And they're super heavy. I mean, they're solid. And so I've got those in the bottom of these pipes here to weight them down. I got 2 of those. You can see one on the other side there. So those come in handy. And then sometimes I'll put an umbrella in there, in the top of that, so I can move it around anywhere if I'm working on this side, if I'm working at the vise. And then I'll put one in this umbrella, in this vise. And then the old toolbox, I forgot to tell you, the locks don't work. So I have these chains running down from the inside through holes in the bottom. And I use these locks and lock them in the bottom. I know it's janky, but that's okay, guys, because I got some other anti-theft devices that work better than chains. That's right. My belongings are worth more than your life, and I shop at Harbor Freight. So what does that say about your life? Anyway, so I used, this is some real thin wood that I use. Oh, God. Let me take you all around the trailer, and then we'll go to the top. This is some wood. I just did a little torch stuff with that. You can see the back of it. Little torch action. This is 2x6s all up and down this door. This door is heavy as fuck. So if I don't have my welders and stuff inside, this will just be weighted down on the back. It'll just, if I try to take it off the hitch, it'll just sit down on the bottom there. I put the lights on myself. Of course, I built the whole thing, but yeah, these are 2x6s. I just took a torch to everything and made it look like it was burnt. It looks like it should be a barbecue food truck, honestly. But either way, it works for me. I got my locks up there. I've got these rebar going across because this is old bed frames too, you know. This just welds going down here. And so I welded this rebar across to, you know, reinforce it. And then it's got these 2x6s on the inside. I mean, the door's heavy as fuck, man. I'm going to try to figure out some way to help me, you know, open it. I used to have a trailer that had this thing that went across the top. It looked like it had a spring in it. And it had 2 cables coming down, and it followed the whole thing down. But I can't find anything like that. Now it's just these little things that you put on the back of trailers to let the doors down, like for lawn trailers and shit. But, I mean, I need something on the inside. So if you guys know of anything, let me know. And then in the fender wells, you can see, I just put some wood up in there. Now, believe it or not, this trailer doesn't have any suspension, just the tires. And I don't have any problems, man. I know how to drive. I'm not going to go fast down any kind of bumpy road. You know, if I hit a pothole, I'm fucked. But other than that, and this is the other side that opens up. Now you can see I use a you know, little hook with steel cable. This is steel cable going down. It's all covered in resin just in case, you know, I don't want it rusting. So there's a shot of that. You can see the side there. That right there is where the hinge is. It's just, I have a hinge over here and a hinge over here. And this opens up, right? This is a Mario Lopez yoga mat from Big Lots. I just cut it up and use it so it blocks out the rain from the actual crease. I'll show you that on the inside, but let's go to the top. Let me take this ladder over here. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you can see, get a up close look, right? This wood, but it's covered in surfboard resin, guys. That's right, surfboard resin. I also make skin boards as a hobby, and I use polyester resin, which you can't use on regular foam. It'll burn through most shit, and it's highly toxic, so you've got to wear a respirator and all that. But one day I'll show you my shape shack that I built for shaping skin boards and surfboards. But in the meantime, I'll show you this roof. Now, this brown stuff, I just put this on there before the hurricane. Just had some extra in a bottle and was like, fuck it, I don't have anywhere to put it. So I just poured it up here just as extra reinforcement. But this is how I open the side. It's a 2,000-pound winch that I got from Harbor Freight. Now it's covered, everything's covered. Now I'll tell you what I did. And down there at the other end, that little tube that's sticking up is for solar, when I put solar in here one day. But you can see these little things going across right there are little pieces of the bed frame that I cut and welded. And then these are bed frames going across like double beams three times. And these are different pieces of thick ass wood, which you'll see on the inside. That's what I use to for the roof. Now there are, let's see, the first layer is Titebond 3 wood glue. It's the only waterproof wood glue. That's what this stuff is, this dark stuff here. It's Titebond 3, it's poor man's resin. You can use it with canvas or cloth of any kind and basically make anything you would out of regular resin. So it's got a layer of that. Then I used, around all the cracks, crevices, corners, creases, I used this stuff that they put on, self-leveling sealant, like they put on the top of RVs, and you just lay it down like caulk, and then it flattens out and spreads out, and it'll seal everything. So I did that. Then I covered all that in a rubber roof coat that you put on RVs. I think it's Hanes or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. It's in an orange can. And then I covered all that with different layers of extra cans of paint that I had laying around until I finally ended up with a blue paint. And then I went over all the sides, corners, and everything, and the ends with the polyester resin, some extra resin I had left over, because I would be doing the sides and just have a little bit left over and come up and do the top. So the top isn't going to leak, dude. It's got so many things, and I'll probably get paranoid and go over it again. But you can see where the self-leveling stuff was, like right here, okay? And then this is the winch. I've got another winch inside. They were on sale, so I bought 2 of them. So I got one just sitting inside waiting if this one fucking breaks. And then that's where my solar is going to go in. And I'm going to use the solar to charge a battery bank to run all the tools off of, like the grinders and stuff. So that way my welder's the only thing running off the generator. Let me take you over to the other side and show you my pulley system. So this, guys, is the pulley system that I built. And it comes over that. Now this, I don't know where the hell this came from. I added that to keep the cable. I added this part to keep the cable inside here, as you can see, so it doesn't pop out. And then I welded it to the trailer. I cut it in a little V shape right here, right across here, and then welded it with 7018, so it'd be real strong. And it's covered it with resin. But it keeps, you know, it runs back there to that, and then keeps it going, man. And I'll show you where it comes down on the inside. But that was a part of that lifting block that I showed you in the toolbox. I just cut it and welded it on there. So it's my pulley system. Instead of having it come down to one spot in the middle, you know, this thing would open and it would be all wobbly. I got it spread it out to both ends, connected. So yeah, this was the door I was welding that morning when it was cool and all my welds were breaking. And you can see, like, this is just 6011 weld right here. And then it goes up and there's a weld up there. But there's a weld right here. I don't know if you guys can see any of this. Welds right through here, down on the corners. I just welded the corners together. This is 2 different pieces. You know, you can see one of the welds right here. Go up and there's a weld right there. And like I say, it's 2 different frames that I had to put together. Let's get this thing opened up before it gets nighttime on us. So I basically have lots of keys to different locks. You've got these locks with some rings that I put on here. And then I pull on this rebar here. And man, this thing is heavy, so I gotta like, just go with it. Probably gonna have to wait till I open it up. Somebody's grilling out. God, I'm getting hungry. Probably gonna have to wait till I open it up to actually see anything. So let's open it up now. Basically, the way I lock it though is I have this strap going to one side because I can't get over there with a lock, and then I got a lock over here. So I'll get down here and unlock it. The cool thing is that side door is locked from the inside, so nobody can actually get to that. I don't know if you can see this strap going across here, but I just loosen that and then open it with the door. I gotta go right over here, pull it out. All right. I'm gonna grab my motorcycle battery. Okay, so I got the battery hooked up, and it's just hooked up to that red and black cable. Whoa, right here, and that's running up through the roof to the winch. Okay, then it's coming down to this handle. And then it's got the up and down on it. I mean, if you guys ever run a winch before. So obviously it's the up, and you guys can see it opens from the inside, you know. It's loud. Alright guys, so when you step inside the trailer, there's my jacks from Harbor Freight, those $17 jacks. There's one that somebody left. These things come in super handy. They'll roll or they'll hold stuff. I've used them a bunch. I got my fire extinguisher. I should have more, but I have one right now. I have these fans set up in here, super ghetto style, and those are about to come out because they've tripped the breaker a couple times on my generator because the wires keep getting messed up when I drive and they move and shit. So I'm getting some different fans. I'm going to get a couple more of the high thrust fans like that black one there, but I'll show you once I have it all set up. I'm keeping that fan. There's my tube coming down that you saw from the outside for the solar one day. And I have various things hanging from the ceiling. I've got my, you know, T-square, a level, some tape hanging from, you know, there's an extension cord. Just I got hooks, just whatever I need. I've got my damn MIG lead hanging there. That's my roll. I think I got 150 feet of, you know, pneumatic or the air for the air tools, and that runs back to the air compressor. It's a Husky 30-gallon, and it works. Needle scale, it works everything. I got all my pneumatic tools hanging. This was an old cart that my father-in-law built, and then I cut those places in there so I could hang all my pneumatic tools. I got a needle scaler, die grinder, ratchet. I got a little 4-inch grinder, a drill, impact. Got another impact inside the truck somewhere, and then a sander. And then I've got these little things I welded on the side so I could hold all my discs. So I got flap discs and grinders and just different stuff. And then I'm holding some tape there. Got the MiG 180. Got a toolbox there so I can move the MiG 180 and open the toolbox. I'll show you what I've got inside the toolbox before I get started here. Okay, so yeah, I keep these in here to keep moisture out. I got zip ties. This is for electrical, for when I'm doing you know, splicing fans. I got some Velcro, or whatever the hell I need that for. That's drill bits. Some more of this for my ground. That's what I put, or my return. Yeah, these are all my rods. Those are 6010 rods. I got some aluminum rods back in there. I've got some 1/16 6013. I use those for some things, you know, tacking and different things. They're really good for tacking. I got files, boxes of bits, And then a bunch of just bits, man. All kinds of stuff. Just whatever. Whatever I thought I would need. My father-in-law passed away. He left a bunch of tools behind, so I just kind of loaded everything up and went with it, man. Earth clamp. A work clamp for the MiG 180 there. And then I'm going to put my CO2 bottle right there and strap it to that. Okay, so now we're in here. You guys can see these are old bed frames. I mean, I didn't unpaint those. You can see it doesn't. My son wrote that when we were working. He was like outside. We puttied up. He put little arrows. It was funny, so I just left them. It's just reinforced. This is the roof, reinforced. This is a bed frame, guys. You know, this is bare wood right here. I just left it. Just reinforced with rebar. not very pretty on the inside. I'll tell you that much. This on the inside is coated with Titebond 3. This is just bare wood. I just left it because, I mean, it ain't going to get wet. And you can see these are old bed frames. Just welded overhead. Just had to hold up. I was having to hold like this up tight with the wood and then try to weld at the same time. Man, it was just a pain in the ass. But you can see it just don't look pretty in here. Now, my plan is to get a P.O. box and get stickers sent to me. Oh, let me turn around so you can see the doorway. That's reinforced bed frame. That's all bed frames right there. Yeah, that's all bed frames up through there. You can see it better over here. Bed frames, you can see the wood glue, you know. It was just slapped on there, man. It's coating everything. I want to cover the entire inside with stickers of different companies, different people that I follow on Facebook, just everybody's stickers. I'm hoping MCF will send me a sticker soon. Alright guys, the sun's finally going down, so maybe, just maybe, I'll get a better light. As you guys can see, this is a welding table, Harbor Freight. The Hercules Harbor Freight. It folds out. Bench grinder. I got a little belt sander grinder there. Y'all see me use that in videos, both of them. The Hercules, I got this because I stand on it to do stuff in here, so I just leave it on the side. This is the way it looks when I walk up, okay? I've got some tools hanging up here, you know, just different crescent wrenches that I use a lot. I hung those up there on little, you know, pack of cheap carabiners I got from Harbor Freight. Got my square there. This is my respirators. Respirator for, you know, resin. This is the respirator under the mask. Hacksaw, face shields, hat when it's real sunny outside. Just stuff that I need. This, I'll show you. I actually built that. Now, I told you when I moved in that there was a bunch of barbells back there, and I only need one. So, this is a barbell, piece of a barbell. But this is, I don't know where the hell this thing came from. It was something to take something apart, and I just welded it to that Allen head that's in there. And then this is just a piece of a bed frame to reinforce it, rebar to reinforce it. And it sits on a bed frame platform. It's sitting on top of a jack stand because the rebar kind of sways. So I have it to where, because when I built it, it was level with the way I was parked in the driveway, which was at a slant. So it wasn't level. So I got it zip tied to that so I could pull it out if I need to, take it somewhere else and work on shit. And it's just reinforced down in there. That's reinforced with rebar. I used a lot of rebar. That can is for my rods when they get down to the bottom. One day I'm going to melt them all down and make something out of them. But you can see the floor down there, guys. It's just covered in Titebond 3 wood glue. It's just wood. Now the thing about this whole bottom part, before I put any of the wood down, I have coated all of this metal, all the blue you see, all the red frame. I bought that for $200, the frame. This I covered all in epoxy resin. I had a bunch of epoxy resin from a job that I did for a moving company. They had a hole in their floor inside their box truck, and I filled it with resin instead of them having to take the whole floor out. So they gave me what was left over, and I covered the entire bottom of this whole shell with epoxy resin, and the whole bottom of the wood on the inside is covered with epoxy resin. So, I mean, you can see, I mean, it's caked on there. All that's just resined. You know, it's protected from water and oxygen, so it won't rust. And then the whole inside's covered in resin. I mean, all of this, just every bit of it is covered in resin. Resin. I mean, resin. You'll see. Let me show you some more. You know, this is all just slathered, dude. I mean, it's waterproof. Alright, so one of the first things I do, I take this thing out. And like I say, I normally use it to climb up and, you know, reach up in here and do stuff, climb up in my toolboxes, all that. Alright, now I usually level that out. And then if I have to pull this out, pull it out, tighten it down. Yeah. I'm going to take this thing and I'll put it underneath the table if I'm using it to put heavy stuff on, or I'll put it under this. This is where it comes in super handy. And I'll actually lift this up a little bit with it so it's level it out, and then boom. Alright, so I got my fan set up in there. I like these little blue fans, these Honeywell. They're like a high thrust. I mean, they're nice. I use the Vulcan 225 Commander. You can see I got it on AC low, man. I use AC quite a bit. I use 6011, 7018, you know, whatever. I got the high nade 45D inverter plasma cutter. I want a cut 60. That's my next purchase for, you know, plasma cutters. I got this whole cart strapped in with just straps from Harbor Freight. Now the reason why I did this was so you can see down in here I've got the big rubber casters on there, the actual pneumatic casters or whatever. And that is so if I have to go over, you know, rough terrain, I could pull this cart out, take the generator, unstrap it, unstrap the generator, pull them both out, and go anywhere I need to. So I'm more mobile than just, you know what I mean? I got the trailer. Yeah, that's mobile. I've got, you know, 60 feet, somewhere around there, 60, 70 feet of lead. But I'm also mobile to where I can take this trailer or this cart, roll it out of that motherfucker on almost any kind of ground. I mean, you see those casters, and then take the generator and roll it anywhere. And then I can weld inside a building. I can weld, you know, wherever. If I've got, you know, they'd have to pay me quite a bit to take this cart off, I'll tell you that much. I got my rod bucket here. I use, like I say, Vulcan 6011. I got Forney 7018s. I don't like them. I don't like Forney. I like Vulcan 7018s, and I like, for the 332nd, it's actually cheaper to get them at Lowe's than it is even Home Depot. These are the green dot, the 3 green dots. But 332nd, I just get 6011 and 7018 from Home Depot. But it's cheaper to get the 1/8 inch, because you can get 10 pounds for 30 bucks at Harbor Freight, and they run really good. I got, of course, the prime weld I showed you guys. I got all my grinders, rubber hammer. This is one of the most useful tools I've ever had in my life, is a big rubber hammer. I mean, I've used the shit out of it. I use a hammer, but this is my rubber hammer. This is my pneumatic oil for my pneumatic. And then this, I use also pneumatic oil for the mag drill. Got extra bits right there, or extra tips for the welder. Haven't used yet. This rod bucket was a popcorn bucket that I got a bunch of popcorn for Christmas. I just taped it up, dude. Ghetto, man. I'm telling you, I'm cheap. All these grinders were left to me from my father-in-law. This is a DeWalt Makita. I got this one actually from Harbor Freight for 10 bucks. That was my father-in-law's. And then I bought all these. The impact was his. I bought the drill. I bought the 4-inch grinder. The ratchet was his. I bought this, and the die grinder and the needle scaler from Harbor Freight. And then I put these boards up right here to keep the, you know, sparks from these grinders out of my plasma cutter, out of my welder. You know what I mean? I get real paranoid, so I put that board up. And then I get paranoid because that's my generator back there. It's a Duramax 13,000. You can see back there, 13,000E. It's just gas powered. The EH is the propane, but you don't get full power off propane. But 13,000 watt, and I put this thing up and strapped to it so that way when I'm grinding and different things, it's hitting that. And then I also put that board up. I lay it across there too. Now, I ride with it strapped on that side because it's more towards the center. And then that's towards the center, so all the weight's kind of centered and towards the front. And then I'll actually pull this over here because the exhaust is right there. And let me show you on the inside. I actually had to put this sheet metal is off of a microwave and this foam, and I put this up against it because this is just wood, right? But that exhaust, if I leave it up close, will just heat this thing up. And I found that out the hard way. I mean, I almost caught this motherfucker on fire. So I scooted it over. You can see I've got space right there. So, and this is strapped down right here. And that holds it up against there. So that way all the weight is kind of centered. There's a lot of stuff on this side. So it's all, you know, a lot of weight. And that's why I moved that Vulcan more towards the center, because it's just super heavy, man. It's like a good 200 pounds, 250 pounds. And I know this is like 300 pounds. So you're talking about, I tried to center it more. So it's, you know, because this thing's 1,800 pounds without anything in it. And that's a lot of weight on those tires. The tires are 2,000 pound tires a piece. So, you know, you're looking at 4,000 pounds. Anyway, that exhaust, I move it over so that way the exhaust is blowing. And then I put that fan up on the fender well, blowing down at that. So it keeps it nice and cool. 13,000, 8.3 gallon. I mean, that thing will run all day, pretty much. Well, let me try here. And then it runs that Vulcan over there. And then I always keep a fan blowing on those when I have them on. Hey, how's it going? And it's my neighbors. They walk every day. They're cool. Anyway, so I always keep a fan. And then the mirror is down there, so I can actually see the controls and turn it on and off. Because I had to put it in here backwards in order for everything to fit. So this thing is just to stop this from coming this way too much, from coming all the way over in here. The fan always blows on the Vulcan. I like to have an external fan plus the fan that's being used, so that way I know that it's cool. So when this is going, there's this big fan is blowing on that, and that fan is blowing on those, so it keeps it cool. I've never had it overheat. And then I got a little tool pouch down here. It's just one that I had, and I got a little cheap drill for just drilling in screws, drilling out screws. It's a Warrior. It ain't worth the shit. You can't tighten it down real good. And then I've got, you know, just the Welpers and, you know, just different stuff. A couple wrenches, screwdrivers, needle nose pliers. I also have an extension plugged into the 30 amp plug on there that runs these 4 plugs. So these are running off of a 30 amp outlet. And of course the 50 amp is running the Vulcan. And then they say that you can't really use a generator, regular generator, to run any inverter, but I've run, you guys see me do the aluminum the other day with the inverter MIG welder. You saw me do a video where I cut 44 plates at a 1/4 inch plate with that, and 2 holes in each one of those 44 plates with an inverter plasma cutter. I did a video where I used the inverter 80 amp arc welder to weld on a hinge on the back of a roll-off dumpster. So don't let people tell you that. You just got to have enough power. So I used the Vulcan. I got my hood hanging up there. I got this leather pouch just in case I need to carry it for my rods. I've got my leads for the plasma cutter up there, and I showed you guys I turned it into a pilot arc without having to pay extra for pilot arc. That's just some hooks I got from Walmart. There's my air hose again, and then I use this just to blow stuff off, you know, when I need to blow dust and rust off. Anyway, it's getting dark. I need to close up shop. That's my setup, guys. I hope you like it. You know, if you got any suggestions, let me know. If you got any more questions about it, let me know. Other than that, see you tomorrow.